She thought breaking your heart would break you. But what if walking away was the worst mistake she ever made? Picture the look on her face when she realizes your silence isn't a sign of weakness, it's pure power. The last thing she expects is the one thing she can't ignore: a man who truly doesn't need her anymore. Most men get it all wrong after a breakup. They chase, they plead, they try to prove their worth in a desperate bid to win her back. But guess what? That only confirms what she already believes: that she's in control, that she's the prize, that you need her more than she needs you. The moment you stop, truly stop caring, stop chasing, stop worrying about her, everything shifts. Think about it. When was the last time you genuinely missed someone? It wasn't when they were constantly available, constantly blowing up your phone. It was when they disappeared, when their silence made you wonder what happened and whether you ever really mattered to them at all. And that's the key. She expects you to panic. She expects you to beg. She expects you to break. Why? Because that's what most men do. But when you do nothing, when you vanish as if she never mattered, it unnerves her. Your silence becomes your power. Absence creates doubt, and doubt grows into regret. She might have been absolutely certain when she left, certain you'd always be waiting, certain that if she wanted, she could come back to you whenever. But the moment you stop feeding her ego, the moment she realizes she's not as important as she thought, her certainty crumbles, and that's when everything changes. This is where you make a choice. Will you let heartbreak define you? Will you waste your time chasing someone who walked away? Or will you become the man she never saw coming? A man so composed, so unbothered, that she starts questioning herself instead. Because here's the truth. The strongest position in any relationship is the one of least attachment. The person who is least affected, who is least emotionally invested, holds all the power. That's why the more you ignore her, the more she feels it. People don't value what's given freely. They value what they have to work for. It's time to reclaim your power. In the following steps, we'll explore exactly how to do that, how to detach, how to rebuild, and how to make her feel your absence like a ghost she can't shake. Step by step, you will transform your heartbreak into strength. By the end of this journey, you won't just be stronger, you'll be truly untouchable. So if you're done suffering and ready to become the man she regrets losing, let's begin. 1. The power of absence. The more you ignore her, the more she feels it. Why? Because human nature is built on contrast. We only start to appreciate something when it's gone. You don't notice the air you breathe until you're underwater gasping for it. Attention works the same way. As long as she knows you're there waiting in the wings, she doesn't have to think about you at all. But the second you disappear, the second your presence fades into silence, she feels it like a missing piece she never realized she needed. Right now, she assumes she has you on standby. She believes that if she ever wanted you back, she could snap her fingers and you'd come running. That comfortable certainty makes you boring. It makes you predictable. And predictability is the death of attraction. But when you step back, when you cut off the supply of attention she took for granted, something shifts. Suddenly there's a void where you used to be, and the human mind hates voids. It races to fill that empty space with questions, with doubts, with regrets. Did she make the right decision? Why hasn't he tried to reach out? Did he move on that fast? Was I wrong about him? The moment you stop feeding her ego, she starts to wonder if she misjudged you. That right there is the beginning of her losing control of the situation. Your absence is powerful because it creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. This is exactly why luxury brands limit their products. Why do you think a Rolex is worth more than a regular watch? Not because it tells time better, but because it's rare. Not everyone can have it. The same rule now applies to you. If you're too available, too easy to reach, you lose your value in her eyes. But the moment you become scarce, she starts seeing you differently. So the first step to making her truly feel your absence is complete and total silence. No texts, no calls, no casually watching her Instagram stories, no liking her posts. You vanish. And when you do, she'll feel that shift, a sudden sting, sharp like a knife. For the first time, she has to face a reality where you're not there at her beck and call. And let me tell you, she will notice. She might act like she doesn't care. She might post smiling selfies or party pictures, trying to look like she's moved on without a second thought. But in the quiet moments, when no one's watching, she'll feel your absence. She'll check her phone, expecting a message that never comes. She'll glance at her notifications looking for your name, and with every single day that passes in silence, the question in her mind will grow louder. Did I lose him for good? That is when the regret truly begins to set in. 2. Indifference is the ultimate power move. Nothing makes a person rethink their choices faster than indifference. Not anger, not sadness, not even plain silence. True indifference, acting as if you don't care at all, is the ultimate power move. Emotions are leverage, and if you let yours run wild, you hand that leverage to her. The moment you react, you show her she still has an effect on you. If you lash out, if you try to make her jealous, if you obsess over every little thing she does, you lose, because you're broadcasting that you're still emotionally invested. And in any relationship standoff, the one who is most invested is the one with the least power. When you give her nothing, no reaction, no response, no validation, that's when she starts to panic. Suddenly, she doesn't know where she stands. She fully expected you to chase her. She expected you to be heartbroken and responsive to every breadcrumb she might throw. Now, all of a sudden, she's the one feeling unbalanced. Here's a brutal truth. When someone knows they can have you anytime they want, they stop valuing you. But when you make them question that certainty, everything changes. This is why indifference is so potent. When you stop showing her that she matters to you, she'll start wondering why. She'll look for any sign that you're struggling without her. And when she finds nothing, that's when she begins to feel the loss. Think about how people react when they lose something important. First, they try frantically to find it or fix it. But when they start to realize it might actually be gone for good, desperation kicks in. That's exactly what happens when you master indifference in the face of her absence. Crucially, you don't ignore her just to get her back. This isn't about playing a short-term game. You ignore her because you genuinely don't need her back. That fundamental shift in your energy, from needing her to not needing anyone, is what makes her begin to obsess. She will test you on this. Count on it. She'll toss out little breadcrumbs to see if you'll bite. Maybe a random like on your post, a subtle update on her story designed to get your attention, or a meaningless, "Hey, how have you been?" message that's really meant to probe your resolve. Don't fall for any of it. Every time you react to one of these, you reset the game. Every time you take the bait, you show her that she still has influence over you. So do nothing. Stay cold. Show her that, in your world, she has become irrelevant. That is what will make her lie awake at night rethinking everything. 3. You were never chasing her. You were chasing validation. Let's be real for a second. Was it ever truly her that you wanted? Or was it how she made you feel? Was it the thrill of being chosen? The rush of being desired? The validation of knowing someone out there wanted you? Most men don't realize this until it's too late. They think they're heartbroken over her. But what they're really mourning is the way she made them feel about themselves. And that is the trap. If you don't recognize this, you'll keep chasing her, not because she's one of a kind, but because you're addicted to the feeling of being enough that she temporarily gave you. Here's the brutal truth. If you truly loved her in a healthy way, you would have loved yourself first. Instead, you handed her the power to define your worth. You let her approval dictate how you saw yourself as a man. So, when she pulled away, you felt empty and lost. Not because she was the only woman in the world for you, but because without her validation, you didn't know how to feel worthy on your own. That ends today. You were never really chasing her at all. You were chasing the illusion that you needed her to feel whole. So what happens if you stop? What happens when you decide that you don't need anyone else's approval to know your own value? Everything changes, because now, instead of chasing external validation, you start building internal validation. You stop looking at her as the source of your happiness and start looking within. And when that happens, when you finally realize you are and always have been enough, you become truly untouchable. Remember, women are naturally drawn to a man who doesn't need them. It's not because they want to be ignored or treated poorly. It's because self-sufficiency is magnetic. A man who is confident in himself, who doesn't require her attention, her approval, or her presence to feel complete, that's the man she can't help but think about. So break the habit. Stop chasing the high of being chosen. Stop seeking worth in the eyes of others. The moment you accept that the only person who ever needed to approve of you was you, you break free from the whole cycle of dependence. And here's the kicker. The moment you stop needing her validation, she will start needing yours. The balance flips. When you validate yourself, when you know your own value, you stop giving her, or anyone, power over you. She will sense that independence, and it will make her realize what she lost. 4. The Stoic Mindset. Detach or be destroyed. When faced with heartbreak, you have two choices: detach or be destroyed. There is no middle ground. You can either let this break you, let it consume your every thought, drive you to desperation and weakness, or you can take this pain and use it as fuel to become something greater. The philosophy of Stoicism isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about mastering what you feel. It's about understanding one simple truth. You do not control other people or their choices. You only control yourself, your own actions and reactions. Most men fail here. They waste endless time and energy overanalyzing her every move, dissecting her words, obsessing over whether she's moved on with someone else. That path is pure destruction. It's weakness. Every second you spend focused on her is a second you're not building you. A Stoic man does not chase. He does not beg. He does not even seek closure from someone who left him, because he knows the only closure he needs comes from within himself. Why? Because the only thing he truly controls is his response, not what she does. She left? Fine. That decision was hers, and it's done. It's outside your control. So what is within your control now? Your response, your discipline, your personal growth. Here's the irony. When you master detachment, when you genuinely stop caring whether she regrets leaving or not, that's when she will feel your absence the most. When you are no longer emotionally invested, you are no longer hers in any sense. Detachment is freedom. Freedom from needing her validation. Freedom from chasing answers you don't really need. Freedom from allowing someone else to pull the strings of your emotional state. So here's what you do. You stop watching her life from the sidelines. Stop checking her social media. Stop torturing yourself with thoughts of what if and scenarios of how it could have been. Every moment you spend dwelling on the past is a moment stolen from your future. Shift your focus entirely to yourself. Hit the gym and push your physical limits. Sharpen your skills and pursue the goals you set aside. Create a life so full and fulfilling that whether she ever comes back or not becomes completely irrelevant. Build yourself up to the point where you look around and realize you're actually happy she's not in the picture because you've grown beyond the version of you that needed her. And that's when the real power shift happens. When she realizes she no longer has any effect on you. When she sees, maybe through the grapevine or a chance encounter, that you didn't just survive without her, you thrived, it will hit her like a ton of bricks. You took the heartbreak she handed you and you forged it into something powerful. You're stronger, smarter, and more driven than ever. You've taken full control of your mind and your life. 5. The reverse chase. Let her chase you. Right now, in her mind, she won. She thinks you're sitting there defeated, suffering in silence, waiting for any chance to prove your worth to her again. But what happens when the script completely flips? What happens when, instead of you chasing her, she starts chasing you? Most guys think they need to actively do something extravagant to get her attention back. They strategize grand gestures or constantly check in, hoping she notices their improvement. Nope. The real move is the exact opposite. Do nothing. Literally disappear from her world. Show absolute disinterest. Remove yourself so completely that it's as if you dropped off the face of the earth. When you do this, her mind will start to work against her. Here's how it goes. At first, she won't even notice. She'll assume your silence is temporary. She confidently believes you'll reach out because surely you can't stay away. But you don't. Days go by. Then a week. Then 2. Suddenly she's checking her phone more than she'd like to admit, wondering why there's no trace of you. She might catch herself opening your chat thread, expecting to see the typing indicator, but nothing. She might scroll through your social media or ask a mutual friend about you, trying to gauge what you're up to, and again, nothing. At this point, her simple curiosity grows into nagging doubt. Was I wrong about him? Did I misjudge his value? Why isn't he reacting the way I expected? All those confident assumptions she made start to wobble. Her ego takes a hit. This is the stage where her mind starts whispering that maybe she messed up. That's when she'll likely make a move, a very small, carefully measured move, just to test the waters. It might be as trivial as liking one of your old photos or viewing your story the second you post one. It could be a vague text out of the blue. Hey, hope you're doing okay. On the surface, these gestures seem casual, but make no mistake. They are calculated to get a reaction from you. This is where most men stumble. The second they get one of these breadcrumbs, they jump at it. They respond instantly, or they post something clearly aimed back at her, effectively telling her, I was just here waiting for you to show me a little attention. And just like that, the chase resets. She gets the satisfaction of knowing that a tiny breadcrumb was all it took to reel you back in. You're going to be different when she reaches out, and if you followed the steps so far, it's very likely she will in some way. You will not take the bait. If you truly want the power dynamic to reverse, you must have the discipline to stay the course. So, if she likes a post of yours, you ignore it. If she sends a trivial message, you leave it be or give a polite but terse reply that leads nowhere. You do not start following her on social media again. You don't ask her how she's been, and you sure as hell don't start pouring your heart out because she tossed a crumb your way. By staying cold and indifferent in these moments, you trigger something powerful in her: fear. The fear that she miscalculated completely. Now she's not just missing you. Now she's starting to wonder if she ever really had you at all. She thought you were on the hook, and suddenly the line has gone dead. So what does she do? She starts to chase. First it's the small probes, then maybe more direct attempts, perhaps asking to meet up just to talk, or dropping hints through friends that she's thinking about you. And the more she reaches out, the more distant you remain. The more you pull away, the more powerful you become in her mind. This is the reverse chase in action. It's the point where the tables turn so completely that she's the one questioning and doubting herself, not you. She's the one who can't sleep, replaying everything in her head. But remember, this outcome only works if you have the discipline to not react. Hold the line. Keep moving forward with your life. Every day that you continue to focus on you and not on her is a day you grow stronger and she grows more uncertain. So, what do you do while all this is happening? Keep building your life. Stay busy, improving yourself, and enjoying your newfound freedom. Don't sit around waiting for the next breadcrumb. Live as if she's not coming back. Because the irony is, that's when she's most likely to try. When she finally realizes you're gone for real, that's when she will feel your absence in her bones. 6. The silent mystery. Killing her curiosity. Curiosity is a powerful force. It can drive people mad when they can't figure something out. And right now, after you've pulled away, she is dying to figure you out. She expects to have a window into your life. She expects to catch little hints of your pain or see signs that you're still affected by the breakup. In her mind, surely you must be posting something, a sad quote, a pointed song lyric, a gym selfie to show how great you're doing. Anything that gives away what you're feeling. So, what happens when you give her nothing? No social media updates that indirectly speak to her. No cryptic Instagram stories. No sudden, look at me, I'm living my best life posts that are clearly meant for her eyes. Nothing but silence. What happens is that her casual curiosity evolves into full-blown obsession. Most guys handle this all wrong. They make it too easy for her to know exactly what's going on. They'll post constant updates meant to show they're moving on. Motivational quotes about growth. Pictures out with friends. Anything to elicit a reaction. They'll watch all of her stories, making it obvious they're still hung up on her every move. They might even message or comment in indirect ways. All that does is kill the mystery. It confirms what she already suspected, that despite all appearances, she still owns space in your head. You're not going to give her that satisfaction. Instead, you become a ghost, not in a malicious way, but in the sense that you're there one day and gone the next, leaving no trace for her to track. When she pulls up your profile, she finds nothing new. When she asks mutual friends how you're doing, they shrug and say, you haven't really been in touch about it. She waits for you to slip up, to post something, anything, that gives her a clue about your feelings, but you never do. And that is what makes her mind spiral. You've become an enigma. You were once so predictable, she could read you like a book, and now you're an unknown variable. The human brain hates an unfinished story. It will fill in blanks on its own if it has to. So her mind begins to conjure answers in the silence. It will likely assume the worst from her perspective. Has he already replaced me? Is he really that unbothered? Was I not as important to him as I thought? How can he just vanish and move on? These questions will flood her thoughts because she has no information to satisfy them. When a woman starts asking herself these kinds of questions about the man she left, the power dynamic shifts entirely. Suddenly, she's the one feeling insecure and unsure, not you. This is why they say silence is louder than words. By giving her zero information, you force her to confront a deafening void that her imagination will fill. And trust me, what her imagination creates will often impact her far more than any status update or message you could have sent. Your mystery becomes your weapon. In this silence, you become almost like a myth in her mind. She can't pin down what you're doing or how you're feeling. Are you heartbroken? Are you indifferent? Are you with someone else? She has no clue, and that uncertainty will eat at her. Mystery is more powerful than attention. When you are no longer an open book she can flip through, she suddenly realizes she's lost track of the plot, and that drives her crazy. By now, if you followed through, she's feeling the void of your absence. And what do people do when they can't stand not knowing something? They start looking everywhere for answers. She might scroll through old messages or photos, searching for something she missed. She might subtly inquire about you with friends or acquaintances. She might even consider reaching out just to get a gauge on you. In every case, she's expending her energy trying to figure you out, which is exactly the reverse of where we started. Maintain this silent mystery until you have genuinely moved on. Don't break it just because she's curious. Let her curiosity grow. Let it do the work for you, because the more she wonders and the less she finds, the more she'll feel that void where you used to be. 7. Emotional mastery. Never let them see you sweat. The moment you let your emotions control you, you lose. It doesn't matter how much progress you've made or how strong you think you are. If she can see you crack, even for an instant, she'll know she still has some power over you. And that is one thing you must never allow her to have again. Here's the reality. She will test you. Maybe deliberately, maybe subconsciously, but she will. She might post a photo with someone new specifically to get under your skin. She might text you out of the blue with a sugary sweet memory just to stir your feelings. She might show up somewhere she knows you go, looking amazing and acting happy, just to see how you react. She might even pretend she's completely over it and radiating joy, hoping that gets a rise out of you. All of these are tests of your emotional mastery. Your job is to remain unshaken through it all. Imagine yourself as a rock in a stormy sea. The waves crash and rage, but you stand firm, unmoved. This level of emotional control is lethal in the game of power dynamics. It's unsettling to the other party. It makes people deeply uncomfortable when they realize they can't rattle you. When she expects you to react with jealousy or anger and instead you give her nothing, it will rattle her. Now, she's the one left wondering, feeling uncertain and off balance. Think about any confrontation or negotiation in life. Who holds the upper hand? Is it the one who's yelling, red-faced, and reacting to every provocation? Or is it the one who stays calm, collected, and in control of themselves? It's always the person who can keep their cool. Always. Because the calm person is thinking clearly and choosing their moves, while the reactive person is just a puppet to their emotions. From this point forward, you operate from a position of absolute emotional mastery. No outbursts of anger, no visible frustration, no public sadness. This doesn't mean you're a robot without feelings. It means you control how and when to express them, especially around her or in any situation that could get back to her. If she texts you, you don't jump to respond. In fact, you might not respond at all if it's not necessary. If she tries to flaunt a new relationship or flirts in front of you to get a reaction, you act as if you didn't even notice. If she attempts to spark an argument or digs at an old wound, you refuse to engage. You either calmly address it without getting drawn in, or you remove yourself from the situation entirely. The second you demonstrate that nothing she does can pull an emotional reaction from you, she will feel it. She will know that the version of you she once knew, the one who cared so much and was so easily hurt, is gone. And that realization will plant a seed of regret in her. She'll remember how much you used to care, and she'll see that now you don't. That's a bitter pill for anyone to swallow, especially someone who expected to hold your heart forever. By showing zero weakness, you're telling her without words that you are a man who cannot be controlled or manipulated through emotions. You've become, in a sense, untouchable. And ironically, that's exactly when past memories might start creeping into her mind. Memories of when you did care, when you were sweet or emotional, and she'll begin to feel the loss of that side of you. Because now, that side is locked away from her. Emotional mastery isn't just for her benefit, by the way. It's for yours. By controlling your emotions, you stay in control of your decisions. You won't drunkenly call her at midnight because you had a weak moment. You won't start a pointless fight or say something you'll regret. You move with intention, not impulse. This makes you incredibly powerful in all areas of life, not just in this situation. 8. The cold shoulder, handling encounters with her. At some point, your paths will cross again. Maybe by accident. Maybe because she intentionally goes where she might bump into you. Either way, consider that moment your moment. This is your chance to show her, without even having to say it, that you are not the same man she walked away from. Most guys blow this opportunity. They either overdo it or fall apart. Some will try too hard to show off how happy and over it they are, laughing loudly, being overly boisterous, clinging to some other woman in a way that's clearly performative. Others might get visibly awkward or upset. But any extreme reaction, whether it's exaggerated joy or obvious bitterness, just shows that you're still thinking about her. She will see right through an act. If you're trying that hard to show you're unaffected, you are affected. Your approach is the classic cold shoulder, but done with subtlety and strength. Not petty, not bitter, just indifferent. The vibe you're aiming for is, you are no longer important enough to impact me. Here's how you do it. If you see her, you don't go out of your way to avoid or approach. You carry on as if she's just another face in the crowd. If she makes eye contact or comes up to say hello, you acknowledge her briefly and politely, but with emotional neutrality. A simple nod or a casual, "Hey, how's it going?" said with a calm half smile, is enough. No big enthusiastic greeting, but also no scowl. You are calm, cool, and largely uninterested. If she tries to start a conversation, you keep it short and pleasant. She might fish for information or try to reminisce. Don't go down those roads. For example, if she says, "It's been a while. How are you doing?" You can simply reply, "I'm good, thanks. Hope you're doing well." Say it sincerely, but do not launch into any long explanation of how great you've been or what you've been up to. You're not here to prove anything to her. In fact, you really don't want to talk for more than a minute or two. You're busy, you're on your way somewhere, you have things to do. Politely excuse yourself and walk away when it feels appropriate. All right, take care, and you're gone. The power of this approach is immense. By giving her this light, cool interaction, you force her to feel the weight of your absence, even when you're standing right in front of her. You didn't ignore her existence. That can come off as childishly avoiding her, which shows you're pressed. Instead, you treated her like an acquaintance. No more, no less. To someone who used to have your undivided love and attention, that is like ice. She will feel the chill. She will realize that she no longer has access to the man who once adored her. You are right there, but emotionally, you're a million miles away. That realization will sting more than any spiteful remark or flashy display ever could, because it sends the message, "I have moved on." It tells her, "I don't have any anger or love left for you. I have nothing for you at all." It subtly communicates that her chapter in your life is over, and you've closed the book. In that moment, instead of her thinking, "Oh, he's still hurt," or "Oh, he's trying to impress me," she'll be left with only her own regret and doubt. She'll start to wonder if she ever truly mattered to you, because you seem perfectly fine treating her like just another person. She'll question, has he really become so content and fulfilled that my absence doesn't faze him at all? It might even make her suspect that you found happiness elsewhere, with someone else or simply within yourself. Importantly, you're not doing this as an act. By now, you are largely indifferent to her. You've practiced detachment, you've focused on yourself, and you've built emotional mastery. The cold shoulder should come naturally as a reflection of your new reality. If you've done the work, you won't need to fake this confidence and nonchalance. It'll just be who you are. Walk away from that encounter with your head high, knowing you just delivered a powerful message without even trying to. The best part? You didn't do it for her or to get a reaction. You did it for you, to maintain your peace. And that's why it's so effective. 9. Rebirth. Become a man she can't reach. There comes a point in this journey where something magical happens. You stop caring about her entirely. This isn't an act. It isn't forced indifference. It's genuine. You wake up one day and realize the thought of her barely crosses your mind anymore. You've outgrown who you were, and by extension, you've outgrown her. This is your rebirth. This is the moment you step into a version of yourself that she can no longer touch, no longer access, and frankly, could never fully understand. This reborn version of you is so evolved, so focused on your own purpose, and so unbothered by trivial drama that even if she wanted to come back into your life, she wouldn't know where to begin. You're playing at a higher level now. You're not even in the same league as you were when she left you. Understand that most men get stuck trying to win the breakup. They think the end goal is making her regret her decision, maybe to see her crawling back so they can smugly reject her or flaunt their success. But that's small thinking. That's still living in reaction to her. The real win is when she becomes irrelevant. When your life is so full and satisfying that whether she regrets it or not doesn't even matter to you anymore. Because the truth is, she was never the prize, you were. And if she couldn't see that, it's her loss. Part of your rebirth is finally understanding your own value. You look in the mirror and you see a man who has forged himself in fire. Stronger, wiser, and more driven than before. The validation you used to crave from her, you don't need it, because you validate yourself now. The love you were willing to give unconditionally, you're channeling it into love for your own life, your family, your close friends, maybe a new partner who truly appreciates you. Or maybe you're just investing it back into your passions and ambitions. So what does this rebirth look like in practical terms? It means you become so focused on your goals and growth that thoughts of her simply don't fit into your day. You've leveled up physically. Maybe you're in the best shape you've ever been. You've leveled up mentally. You've learned new skills, adopted new positive habits, maybe even advanced your career or education. You've leveled up financially. You've been putting in the work, and it's paying off. In every dimension, you've pushed beyond the old limits that once defined you. If she were to run into you now, she might not even recognize this man, not just in appearance or success, but in energy. The old you, the one she knew, is gone. In his place is a man who knows exactly what he brings to the table and isn't afraid to eat alone. A man who doesn't need approval or permission from anyone to live his life to the fullest. Here's the delicious irony. The moment you truly reach this state, when you honestly no longer care whether she ever regrets leaving, is often the moment she does. Because now the story isn't, she left a guy and he's pining for her. Now the story is, she lost a man who turned out to be absolutely exceptional, and she can never get him back. People don't regret losing someone until that someone elevates to a level they can no longer touch. That realization can haunt a person. It's one thing for her to think, maybe I could get him back if I wanted. It's another for her to know, even if I wanted him back, he's beyond my reach now. And you know what? You won't care. You might even feel a little pity if you ever see that regret in her eyes, because you've long since moved on. The life you've built is too good, too rich with opportunity and positivity, to waste a moment dwelling on the past. This is the pinnacle. Freedom from the whole cycle. She's a chapter that's closed, maybe even a distant memory that you're thankful for, because it pushed you to become who you are now. But she is not the story. You are. You're writing new chapters every day. and none of them hinge on her. 10. The final lesson: you never needed her. Here's the final truth, the one you might have resisted at the very beginning. You never needed her. Not back then, not now, not ever. You thought you did. You convinced yourself that she completed you, that without her, you were a puzzle with a missing piece. But that was a lie. A comforting lie you told yourself because you hadn't yet realized the depth of your own power and worth. Look at the man you are now. Think about how far you've come since the day she left. The pain that once felt unbearable has turned into something else entirely. Maybe into motivation, wisdom, and strength. The craving you had for her reassurance and her approval has faded because you've learned to find those things within yourself. The attachment that kept you up at night, questioning everything, has been shattered. And the best part? You did this. No one pulled you out of that hole. You climbed out. You built yourself back up piece by piece. You turned heartbreak into fuel and used it to forge a better you. You transformed from a man who was merely surviving without her into a man who is thriving without her. Now, consider her for a moment. Do you think she has grown in the same way? Do you think she's undergone a transformation like you have? It's doubtful. People who walk away believing they hold all the cards rarely see a need to change. She might have expected you to stay down, which means she likely hasn't done the hard work to improve herself. Maybe she hopped into another relationship looking for the same validation she once got from you. Maybe she's repeating old patterns because she assumed the world would always cater to her. Meanwhile, you broke the pattern. You did the soul searching. You put in the effort to become a better man. You've stopped playing the old game entirely, and now you stand untouchable in a way you never imagined when you were busy missing her. She might reach out someday. They often do, maybe just to see how you are, or to test if there's a door still open. She might hint at missing you, or flat out say leaving you was a mistake. She might not do any of that, but simply stalk your newfound success from afar with a head full of regrets. It doesn't matter, because the man she left behind no longer exists. The version of you that was controllable, that needed her, is gone. If she does try to come back into your orbit, she'll find that there's no space for her now. Not out of bitterness or revenge, but simply because you've outgrown that chapter of your life. Now she's just another name in your history, one that carries no power over you. She's a memory without sting, a lesson learned, and nothing more. This is the final lesson. You were always whole on your own. You never actually needed her to complete you. You only needed you. She was a chapter in your story, but she was never the story itself. And now that chapter is closed. You're the author of your life, and you get to write whatever ending you want. Take a moment to appreciate what you've accomplished. Not in terms of making her regret, that's just a side effect, but in terms of rediscovering yourself. You've proven that you were always enough. In fact, you were always the prize. So stand tall. There's a whole future ahead of you that has nothing to do with her, filled with possibilities you couldn't see before. Embrace that. Stay strong, stay untouchable,